Welcome to Fairy Tale Access, where the head fairy's quest is to prove that fairy tales do exist in actual time rather than once upon a time. Together, we will unravel the heroes, young and old, who turn dreams into reality. These are the people who still believe in happily ever after. The discoveries will bend even our most cynical non-believers into believing in fairy tales. Hi, welcome to Fairy Tale Access. Today, I'm really excited to introduce you to Deston, Munden. With The Job Starts Here, the TAVERN. If you love fantasy with a little bit of blackmail, a couple drug deals, some slums, assassins, mercenaries, you're going to love this. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing great. I love this book. I had so much fun reading it. It was crazy. And I like the non-human people-ish.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was really fun to write.
Well, how did you come up with these characters, and why are some characters non-human in form and others aren't?
I wanted to create a, fantasy world where, nothing is really human, 100% of the way. I've been thinking about it for a while, since I was, in high school, so I've been, slowly developing these characters. And I just wanted to give someone a world where they jump into and not realize, they're getting into a world that doesn't have, base humans, but have all these different cultures that are based off of human cultures. So that's what I wanted to go for.
Well, I think it really helped in the way that you described discrimination and had social issues like that going on throughout.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just really well done, the way that the characters mixed and the way you brought out those issues.
Yes, and I wanted to make it something that would be very accessible for those issues, because it's really hard to someone to put this, if I threw you in a world where you don't know a bunch of races and you see this, you can see what's wrong and what's right with the society is given. So in a clearer headspace without your personal bias. So that's something that I was going for.
You nailed it. It came out really great. And
Thank
it just
you.
flowed with the story. How about and it was just the enormous amount of blackmail, drug dealers, slums, assassins, mercenaries. How did you come up with that and wind it up with the fantasy and the fiction? I love how you depicted the characters in some of those situations, though, because they were just yeah, that's exactly what I picture him like.
Yeah, I wanted to make a fantasy. The reason why I was I'm going to do a fantasy world, because I wanted to still be kind of lighter, despite all of that. All of that, gritty, political intrigue and blackmail. I wanted to have it in a setting where people could be I still want to live here, but there's obviously, some tension in the world that they have to get around. So I didn't want to be, feel like you're excluded from the world, but also know that it's got some real life feelings into it. So that's why I settled on fantasy for this.
I think you did. I gave a good depiction of the difference between organized crime and gangs.
Mm-hmm.
That was really well done, the way that you put it throughout the whole book. So where did you grow up?
Oh, I just grew up in a very just normal rural area, nothing super special. So I guess it's but I always liked those types of movies and
So was
shows.
It the underbelly of New York?
No, it was just a normal place in North Carolina. It's nothing ooh, this is something gritty. It's just he lived somewhere gritty with all these no, that's not me. I just live on a very quiet rural area with 3 houses on my road. So
Wow. How did you get the insights into all these dynamics between these characters that we'd find in different settings, throughout the city or throughout the country?
a lot of research and a lot of talking with people and a lot of like going to places, going like visiting certain areas, and like I still want to like broaden my surroundings because I haven't been able to like leave the country or anything, but I do want to like. But I like researched a lot and learned a lot from other people, and like listen to. Sometimes you just get a lot of inspiration just listening to other people throughout the life.
Definitely. How did you create the world that they're in? Was there any particular cities that you modeled it after?
Yes, a little bit of like of every cities, like all the cities that I would want to visit, such as like like especially stuff in like the Netherlands and New Zealand, because those are places that I really want to see.
Mhm.
So like so like when I was younger, I was like I'll just imagine myself there. So I just start taking pieces from there and started like building my fantasy world to get like where I want to be one day. So
What about the magic? I love the elements of magic used, especially by the main character where he actually draws from the earth.
hmm
So do you have a garden? How did you get into that
I
character?
I love I just love plant life in general. So like I do like I have gardens. I like I often just like go hiking and like just walking around my like neighborhood because like I'm surrounded by trees. So it's where I like kind of get my inspiration from. Um, the magic system itself, I drew from like I want it to be personal from person to person because I feel
Mhm.
like every person is unique. So I want them to like have a magic that is theirs and only theirs. Like they could get a little bit from their family, but at the end of the day, it's different from who they are. Like you are still you at the end of the day. So I want to make a very personal magic system where everyone's born with magic, like literally everybody, and it's common stance. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like I want to make a magical world where everyone's magical. So it's normal.
No, it's definitely normal. And I like the whole thing about the good goat because it shows how the main character could have made other choices.
hmm Like he could have made some really bad choices if he wasn't put into a wrong, like with the right people and having a really good mentor. Like I feel like anyone can make bad choices or good choices given the circumstances that like that he was in specifically because he was the way he was raised and way he was treated. He could have made a bad choice or a good choice.
Yeah, but you
Mm-hmm.
definitely brought out the value of mentorship and having that go-to person. It was just extremely well done with excitement at every turn and the way that friendships develop from people that have been hurt in the past or had awful things happen to them. Like getting over those and learning to trust other people is a big theme.
It really is especially when you're like given like no pillar to start off with. You can have your family, and like I made clear that my main character's family is good to him, but like other people wasn't, and they treated him wrong. And but like having someone that will like teach you right from wrong and just trusting you and believe that you can do better is important. It's important for everybody. Even outside, like sometimes you just need someone outside of your family to tell you're worth something.
Definitely. And their own rules and the
Mhm.
rules that you set up going through it. How did you build this world?
Um, I wanted to make a world that I wanted to live in while still like hitting on the things that I enjoy. Like video games and movies and fantasy books. So I wanted to build this world with these rules that will restrain some things from being like super strong, while others like it'll still be feeling magical and powerful. You can see there are certain characters that are like super strong, but like it's in a realistic way where you know that they learn and develop their skills. So I want to make a world where you can get like you can have like a really weak magical like prowess, and then like develop it more and more as you get older because through hard work. So it's not just talent versus it's not talent versus hard work. So I wanted to have a world where like it rewards both equally.
I think you did do that throughout. It was a really well-developed storyline. Their English is exceptionally well written. Where did you go to school for English?
I actually went to an online college in Ohio for game design, but English I taught my English like prose and stuff I taught myself from just writing constantly, just keeping writing and like learning and learning and learning until this developed to like something that I could publish. So,
Well, how many years did it take you to write the first novel in the series?
oh, it took me about 2 to 3 years. There was a big rewrite in between because I had to like fix some scenes, but it took me about 2 to 3 years, and then like my editors came and looked at it, and they were like, we fixed some parts here and there, and from there it was just smooth sailing, as smooth as you could get from writing over 2 or 3 years.
That's great. How many books are in the series?
Right now it's gonna be kind of open ended because I'm trying to like create a world like Robert Jordan's like Wheel of Time, or like just a big world where I could tell stories within.
Mm-hmm.
But like Zell's story is gonna be kind of peppered throughout. Like he's always gonna be like kind of involved, even if he's not the main character. So it's gonna be like, I would say for right now it's probably about 10 or 11, but it could be open, it could be more, it could be less.
Well, you did a really good job with just laying out the storyline. Now, what about, there seemed like there were elements of Dungeons and Dragons, and how do Oracle cards fit into all this?
Ooh, good question. Yes, there was definitely influence of Dungeons and Dragons because I'm a huge Dungeons and Dragons player. So it's like it's one of the things that I get told constantly, like, "Oh man, this feels like a Dungeons and Dragons like that," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's on purpose." As for the Oracle cards, I'm a Magic the Gathering player too, so I got like inspired to bring something of that into it, while like, and it was a good chance to bring in some of the lore because all the Oracle cards are based off lore, so I could like prep people to see stories from those characters that are like depicted in Oracle cards ahead of time. So it was like a good plot element while also still being something that like, hey, I'll play Magic the Gathering, because a lot of Magic the Gathering players came up to me and be like, yes, I saw this in the book, in your novel. I was like, are you a Magic player? I was like, yes.
Definitely. The cards are really cool, though. I like how
Thank
that
you.
came into play in the tavern.
Mm-hmm.
I like the sailor influence, the ocean. It was incredibly well laid out.
Mm-hmm.
And the English was a little stronger than you see in fantasy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
where
Like,
you challenge the reader.
yeah, I wanted to like get people to like get involved on like also on a literary level, because I want to see more people to like take fantasy as like a serious genre, and like it is.
So how did you come up with the familiars in your world?
I wanted for that race in particular to have something special because they're like the closest thing to humans in my world. So I was like, I want something special about them too. So I made it like the familiars be something that they hold close to them, and it like they slowly become part of them on like a really strong level, like because it's so tied with magic and they are magical people. So I wanted to show that these people have stronger magic than the rest of the races. So I wanted to create it I created familiars with animals because, I like animals, and I wanted to show different types of animals in the world too through them.
Mm-hmm.
So I created this familiar system for the Magi in particular, because it will show off how strong they are and their personal traits.
I like that part too. It flowed great. Now, what about hobbies? Do you have any hobbies that, gave you extra insight into fighting scenes, or there are some really good fighting scenes. So what do you do?
Mostly I do a lot of research because I do want to learn how to do sword play and other types of training like martial arts. But finding a place nearby, because I live in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of hard to find these things, so I just did a lot of research on that. Another hobby that a lot of people noticed is the food in my store.
Yeah, there's a lot of food,
and because I cook a lot. I'm trying to it's one of my hobbies to learn recipes and develop recipes and teach other people how to cook a little thing, because that's something my mom always taught me, is how to cook. So it was something that kind of leaked in, and I didn't realize it until a lot of people was like, the food is really good in this, and I was like, oh.
That was really well done. So while you were writing this, what did you find that your strengths or weaknesses were in developing, either with writing and publishing, or?
My strength definitely was developing the characters and getting them on the page and making them sound different, because I enjoy just creating a cast of characters and working with it. And so that's my biggest strength. That's something I want to insinuate into the novel. Yes, I'm good at writing characters. One of my weaknesses was getting keeping everything on track, because there's a lot of people and a lot of environments in the world. So I had to keep myself on track. And thank you for editors, because editors are so good at being hey, you said this here, but you did this here, and I was thank you, because I would have never seen it. So that's one of the weaknesses that I've learned to try to develop and start taking better notes in future books to keep everything on track better. So that's probably my best, my biggest weaknesses and my biggest strengths are those two areas that I have to balance.
Mm-hmm. So what's the relationship with an editor, a really good editor that helps you keep fine-tuning your craft?
A good relationship with an editor comes down mostly to communication. You need to learn how to communicate with your editor, and the editor, you shouldn't feel bad after an editing session. That's one of the biggest things I've seen people say when they first get do their first editor, is that, oh, my editor made me feel horrible, and I'm that shouldn't be a problem. They shouldn't make you feel bad. They should help you get better at your certain strengths and pick things up your weaknesses. But they also should show off your strength and show what you did well to keep developing that too. So communicating with your editor is paramount to having a good editor-author relationship.
It was really good teamwork. Because it's one of the things I look for. I read so many books that I'm looking for, that jumble up of mistakes that takes away from the story. It was really well done. So your teamwork worked good there. What themes do you have coming up for new books?
I am excited to announce the second one of that. The second book of that series is named Duke's Brand. And it follows the main character from the first book, the antagonist, one of the antagonists from the first book. And his theme is interesting because he's autistic. And it took a lot of research to get that in that mindset from a lot of my friends and sensitivity readers that are also autistic. So I wanted to make a thing that anyone could be a hero and anyone can still do your dreams despite your background and what people say about your disability or saying that you're not neurotypical. You still can go for your dream.
No, that was something that really played out a lot, was that interfere where the big tough guy wasn't as tough as we thought sometimes, because his past would come in and haunt him, and hold him back. And then, the way that his friends rallied around him to, help him overcome these things and obstacles, which kept me tuned in and made me so that I couldn't put the book down. And it was 400 pages, so thank you. It was a late night.
I'm glad I kept you hooked, because that is something that me as a person, I have personal experience with. Is that I've gone through a lot of problems and a lot of hardships, and my friends have rallied around me and helped me through them. So it was a thing that I wanted to keep going throughout the series.
Well, you did it in such a way that as a reader, I was invested in the characters. I wanted to know more. I wanted to see how things were going to unravel. I wanted to see who had influenced him this way and what happened in his background to make different characters the way they were. Even some of the girls are outrageous. They were awesome.
That was actually super important to me, because most of my sensitivity readers and beta readers are women, so I wanted to make sure I have some strong women characters.
Oh, you definitely had some badass women characters. They were awesome.
Thank you.
They're it's kind of like that your inside ego. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, that's exactly. I want everyone to feel that that empowerment. Wow, yeah, that's totally me. I can see myself doing that.
Any other themes coming up that we didn't touch on?
Family is a big one for me. Family theme is a big thing for literally every book that I write. I end up having a family theme. Because I feel you start off with your family. You get friends and stuff later on in life. In the beginning of the day, you start with your family, and they teach you a lot of what you know, and your worldviews and how you develop as a person. So I wanted to create a family unit that is healthy, because I feel in a lot of fantasy they don't touch on family that much. Either the family is already dead or they're estranged from their family. I just wanted Zell, the main character, to be part of a family, have his family still there, but he's just away from his family because of circumstances involving his hometown. So that was a big influence on me too, because I'm a big family person.
You could definitely see that. And the way that he treats his coworkers and friends like family, and how he tries not to be as bad a guy as he could be in the profession he has.
Oh yeah, he could like be pretty bad if he wanted to, but like he knows what like he cares about and the value of the people that he cares about.
Definitely. So besides Dungeons and Dragons, what was your favorite book growing up?
Probably Chronicles of Narnia was
Oh,
a big
really?
one. Yeah. I was a huge fan of Chronicles of Narnia when I grew up, and Harry Potter was a huge one when I was also growing up. And now I've just been influenced by Wheel of Time. I've just started it, and like it's been out for years, and people been like suggesting it to me for like a long time, and now I just can't get enough. I'm on the second book, and I just can't stop reading. So
Oh, that's
those are the first few books that I did that inspired me and kept me going.
You did a great job, Deston. How long did it take you to write the first one again?
2 to 3 years. It's I think it was about 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
And the second book, how long did it take?
A lot shorter, actually, because I guess because I already established the world and I've been writing more consistently, it was more like about a year and a half for the second one.
Oh, and real quick, do you have a regular job or are you writing full time?
I am writing full time.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing so much about what you do and how you created this incredibly exciting story that I couldn't put down.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
and I
it's a
hope
pleasure.
you can read more.
I hope so too. I can't wait to see what you come up with next, and I can't see what's going to happen to my characters.
Oh, it's exciting.
Excellent. Until next time, keep asking questions. And if you're looking for a fantasy novel that'll whisk you away, the job starts here. It's at the Tavern. We'll see you soon.